Rabbi Sherman, are you changing the look of the Zoom that you have?
Nope, nope, nope.
No, I think it was just a
It's an accident.
blip.
But we are recording.
Awesome. This is so beautiful.
So it's 5:59. This is busier than the sanctuary looks at 5:59 typically.
Yeah,
Out of the parking lot.
standing room only.
Wow.
This is awesome. Rabbi, we're gonna have to wait a few minutes, I think.
Yes.
There's a lot of folks coming in here.
I think Cantor Suffren might have just a melody to hum along to, right? Is that what we had planned? While people are trickling in?
Sure. Here we go. Zungali, gali, gali, zungali, gali, zungali, gali, gali, zungali, gali, zungali, gali, gali, zungali, gali, zungali, gali, gali, zungali, gali. Ya la 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 la. 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 La 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 la. Zungali gali gali zungali gali. Zungali gali gali zungali gali. Zungali gali gali zungali gali. I'm going to get my talit on as well.
Great. How we doing, Rabbi Sherman? Are people still streaming in?
Unintended.
This is amazing.
Can we begin, or shall we wait a couple minutes?
Maybe it's just 6:01. Can we wait one more minute with a nigun of some kind?
Sure.
This is a very technologically sophisticated community we live in. So for people who are already in the Zoom room, and my kids are downstairs, so that no one is here to correct me if I use the wrong terminology, so please do, Rabbi Sherman. At the top right, there's speaker view or gallery view. We encourage you to peek at gallery view to see the extent of our community and feel the connection, even though we're in so many different places. And then once you see that gallery view, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. And then you'll see a blue arrow to the right, which takes you to different galleries. I see there are 11 or 12 pages now of individuals. You can kind of scroll through as though you're looking around the room.
Wow.
I'm so tempted to do shout outs, but I'm going to refrain. But there are a lot of cute families and kids and dogs and regulars and all kinds of folks that it's just so good to see.
Wow.
Individuals, some outside, some inside. We have intentionally turned off the chat until later in the service. But you'll see the speaker view on your top right, and then you can move to gallery view, speaker view. So speaker view will highlight one of the prayer leaders, and gallery view will give you a greater sense of the community. It's 6:03, so I'm just going to share a brief word, and then let's sing a little bit. But a lot has changed in the last couple of weeks, and obviously many of us are somewhat isolated in our homes. And so it's really good to come together as a community and be together in this Zoom room. We could not meet in our sanctuary this Friday because of social distancing. And so we thought it was important to explore another way of gathering as a community to celebrate Shabbat. And so this is a first. This is a TBE Shehechianu moment. With apologies if anything goes wrong. This is a true trial pilot. And we were not able to find a way yet to incorporate the visual tefillah so that you could have the words in front of you. So instead of having a deeply liturgical Shabbat experience, we thought it would be better to gather together rather than follow the formality of the prayer book, gather for a Shabbat experience with nigonim, some prayers, mishaberach, our shehechianu moments, to hear a sermon. This week, Rabbi Sherman is going to share with us. Allow the mourners in our midst to recite Mourner's Kaddish, which we will have on the screen, and then really to be together, to turn off the stresses of the work week and to tune in to the beauty of Shabbat amidst our community. So we hope you can turn off the cell phones and the pagers as we do each week. Actually, I always say pagers. Nobody really has pagers anymore at Celebrate Shabbat. So cantors, maybe you can just lead us in a few nigonim as people continue to stroll into our Zoom room. So Shabbat Shalom. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you haven't noticed, we had to mute people because there's a delay. So when two people speak, it doesn't work out as well as we had hoped. And so we're going to have one cantor sing at a time, although we'll all participate, hopefully. If you're new to Zoom, welcome. We're glad you made it. There's a gallery view on the top right and a speaker view. And if you scroll through the gallery, you'll see our community. We're not using the chat function at all, which is at the bottom of your screen. Until the Mishaberach prayer, we're going to invite people to type in the names of those individuals they're thinking of for healing and use that feature. And once again, we're trying this. It's good to see everyone. And so rather than introductions, having grown up on a full dose of the Brady Bunch, I think we should wave to the box above us, although there's nobody above me, right? Below, to the side, next to us. Greet them Shabbat Shalom as we do each week. And let's begin together. And so, once again, we don't have the liturgy in front of you, but listen, be present, experience the joy of Shabbat with us. And if you're familiar with the words, come and sing. We're going to begin with Cantor Safran leading us in Oziv Zimratya. It's a melody we sing each week, and it really means that at times like this, we need each other, we need our community, and we ask for God to strengthen us through these times.
Ozi v'zimratyo vayili Yeshua. 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 Ozi v'zimratyo vayili Yeshua.
So we're now going to continue with the candle blessings, but I invite you to scroll through the gallery. I see God's presence on the screen in the presence of our community. Rabbi Sapphire, if you'll light the candles behind you.
Thank you, Rabbi. So if you have your candles with you, go ahead and light with us or sing along with us when we get to the blessing. Our plan tonight, if we were in the sanctuary, was actually to invite our immigration justice team to light our candles this evening. I see Michael Gilman here, who is the leader of our immigration justice team. We want to shed light on the sacred work of your team, supporting refugees, especially through this crisis that we experience. We are grateful for your entire team's work, especially your partnership with HIAS. So let us light our Shabbat candles as we bring in the warmth and community and light of Shabbat.
As you light them, Cantor Zell will lead us in song and blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And for people who just joined us, we apologize for not having the words in front of you. But we're going to begin with Shalom Aleichem, and join us as best you can. There are 4 verses, and these words are saying, welcome Shabbat, come bless us. And so let's join together with Cantor Zell.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem.
Boachem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Archuni l'shalom.
Barchuni leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
This has been a difficult week. Many of us have found ourselves unable to do what we had hoped to do, to accomplish, to see people we had always hoped to see. And now we're forced to really slow down. And so I hope we can just listen to ourselves and the strength within us as we continue with the words of Shema Yisrael, and listen to the beauty of our souls and what we bring to this moment in time, each and every one of us. And so let's join together with Cantor Suffren in the words of Shema.
Taking a good breath and releasing that breath. What a week it's been. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hoshkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hoshkivenu, Yishalom. Vecha amidenu, Shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
And so as we continue through our service without our prayer books, let's just take a moment for independent prayer, the meditations of the heart, and then we'll come back together with the cantor for a prayer for peace for us, for all Israel, for all the world.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו Amen. Let's join together on Yalalai. Yalalalalalai, yalalalalai, yalalalalalai, 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 oh, say shalom Roma. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
So if you are new to Zoom, you'll see at the bottom of the square a place for chat. And if you press that icon for chat, something will open to the right side of your screen. And Rabbi Sherman, are you able to, we're going to ask for people not to type greetings, but only begin to type the names, just the names of those individuals you're thinking of who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of mind, healing of soul. And I'm starting to see the names appear. Thank you all. As we see them continue to be named. For me, having practiced our custom for so many years, week after week, there's a unique power to seeing the names written instead of verbally expressed. So I'm just going to be quiet for a moment. And then since this is such a powerful visual medium, if we can just all place our hands on our hearts as we hold all of these individuals in our hearts, we can see the power of our community holding these individuals in prayer. As Cantor Suffren, if you'll lead us.
Kor Abraham may the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Yishebeirach imotenu, Korach Abraham Lavotenu. Bless those in need of Him, faithful Hashelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So with this, it's at this time we always pause for our Shehechianu moments. And we're not going to be able to do this publicly, and I'm hesitant to name anyone because there are so many important moments, but just scrolling through, it's hard for me not to say, Ava and Max, I see you, and they just got back from Israel, a crazy time to have, and their semester being cut short, but we're glad you're back home with your family. And I see Rebecca, who became a new grandmother, and David, who's back from the hospital, and so many other incredible moments that occurred this past week for which I know I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for seeing all of you, but let's all take just a brief moment to think of one or two things for which we're grateful, especially if you would like to share a specific Shehechianu moment. We hope that you hold it close to your heart, and then we'll join together.
Trying to see everybody's faces. And there's so many of us here together that it's actually hard to get past page 6 or 7 without going down the rabbit hole of wanting to say hi to everybody. So I will hold all of your joyful celebrations in my heart, and please join me with these words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. A big amen.
And I've asked Rabbi Sherman to share words of Torah with us this week.
See if I can do this and let people into the room at the same time. Here we go.
I want to thank Rabbi Sherman for being our host. This was a last minute change, obviously, as things changed on the ground. And then to figure out a way to incorporate so many people into one Zoom room. So Rabbi Sherman, you are a jack of all trades. So thank you.
Happy to help. So I wrote to my colleagues the other day that I kind of felt like Dorothy, having just landed in the land of Oz. A huge tornado came and swept me off my feet, and I was awakened by this profoundly different but familiar reality. All the people are the same, just two-dimensional. Our sacred work is the same, just virtual. And there seems to be bad news and challenging moments lurking around every bend in the road. We've awakened to a scary reality, economically, socially, and physically. My heart breaks for our world, for our community, for our communities big and small. And I'm deeply grateful for all the people fighting this virus and caring for the sick. And this is surely the most bizarre and frightening of times. And I really wish we could simply link arms, find a common melodic theme, and skip happily. But even though we know we are deep in the work of coming together virtually, this appears to be a long journey, one filled with great uncertainty, which is why we need community, which is why we need to know that we have a path forward by linking ourselves with one another. Well, this is a journey that we have never faced before. Our people are familiar with long, winding, and uncertain journeys. Throughout the book of Exodus, we read about individuals coming together with a shared purpose and building a people. Initially, it was leaving hardship and oppression in Egypt, and then it was standing in covenant at Sinai. And finally, it was a shared building project as they constructed the tabernacle for God to dwell among them. And so we have journeyed with the Israelites to our Torah portion this week, Vayakel Pekudei, the last one in the book of Exodus. And in it, I feel we learn what truly matters in the face of unknown, and that is community. And I see this in a few different ways. For many of us, this week confined us to a box on a computer, about 1 by 1 or 2 by 2. Perhaps you're familiar with it. You're doing it right now. Depending on the number of participants in any particular Zoom meeting. You might think this was the opening to the Brady Bunch, as Rabbi Sissenwein said, or some other kind of game show. I've seen this in professional meetings as children see their classmates, and even this morning singing with our preschool with Gan Elohim, and even right now with 429 of you. We're all little tiles. But what's amazing is that in this week's Torah portion, we learn about the clothing of the high priest, with the centerpiece being a series of tiles. That is the breastplate the high priest wore, which had 4 rows of stones, 3 across, making 12, corresponding to the 12 tribes of Israel. And so after finding the humor in this parallel of the high priest walking around with a Zoom conference on his chest, I recognized this was saying something extraordinary. We know that the high priest had a unique role in the life of the temple, especially on Yom Kippur as he entered the Holy of Holies. And when he did so wearing a representation of community. For if one stone, if one tribe, or in our case, if one person is not linking in, the community is incomplete and the high priest cannot do his job. The importance of community is also reflected at the beginning and at the end of our portion. Our parsha begins with the word vayakel, and vayakel means to assemble, as in Moses assembled the people together. But unique about the word is its root, kahal, or the root of kihila, which is community. And in this context, I understand this word to imply that we are not fully assembled as a people, until we see ourselves as part of a community and everyone is present. And from our text, we can see the importance of community. But we also know that sometimes the community, for whatever reason, has to spread out a little bit. So how do we find comfort in relative distance? Sure, we can Zoom, and yes, we can connect virtually. But what is the spiritual web that links us together? At the end of the book of Exodus, at the end of our parsha, God shares that God is with the Israelites, leading the way and protecting them, by day with a cloud of glory, and by night with a pillar of fire. So why is this important? Because unlike a sukkah, which we often use as a metaphor for God's protection and has fixed sides, a cloud can spread out. It can diffuse itself. It can move around a bend and ensures that the farthest reaching parts are included as part of the whole. Of course, we know this from science, but we also know this from a beautiful midrash about God hearing our prayer. In the hour that Israel prays, the midrash teaches, you do not find that everyone prays as one, but rather each and every community prays in its own way and time. This congregation first, and after that, another congregation. And after all the congregations have finished all of their prayers, the angel appointed over all the tefillot gathers up all the prayers that all the congregations have prayed and makes out of them a crown and places it on the head of the Holy Blessed One. Another interpretation might be a human being can't hear a conversation of two people speaking at once, like here on Zoom. But the Holy Blessed One is not like that. Everyone is praying at the same time, and God can hear and receive all of those prayers. And so in the face of deep separation we are experiencing physically from one another, we find comfort in knowing that we all stand under the cloud of glory and that God hears all of our prayers. And the farthest reaching parts are included as a part of the whole. And even if and when we feel that we are immersed within a deep cloud, may we find ways to perceive it as a cloud of God's protection and look for ways to invoke God's presence at this difficult time. Perhaps it's taking a walk outside, a wave to a neighbor, a call to a friend or relative, a TBE Zoom class, a good book, a family dinner. The list goes on and on. For the sacred is possible when we truly pause and take the time to look for it. And so as we move into Shabbat and beyond, may each of us continue to bring our participation and presence, knowing our sacred role in sustaining our community from afar. And may we remember that if one of our precious stones is missing, our sacred kahal is incomplete. So let us share together in linking our community as we face this uncertainty as one. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom. Asher koach.
If you are a tent and we're nitzavim, we stand here today, remember the dream. If you are a tent and we're nitzavim, we stand here today and remember the dream. Kehila, Kedosha, Kehila, Kedosha, Kehila, Kedosha, Kehila, Kedosha,
must play a part. Each one of us must heed the call. Each one of us must seek the truth. Each one of us is a part of it all. Each one of us must remember the pain. Each one of us must find the joy. Each one of us, each one of us. Kehila, Kedosha, 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 Kehila, Kedosha.
Thank you, Cantor. Rabbi Sherman, are we able to use the chat room for Kaddish?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to continue with Kaddish, and if the technology works, we're going to actually be able to put the words up on the screen. And it's at this time I invite those members of our community to share the names of individuals they're remembering. If you're observing a yort site or are currently within the period of mourning, 30 days for an immediate family member or 11 months for a parent. And I do want to mention all of those individuals of our own community, relatives of members of our community who have passed in the last 30 days. I remember Stephen Alpert. We also remember Alan Altman, Lorraine Balter, Sarita Blau, Mark Gerstenfeld, Morris Krieger, Sumner Lavine, and Miriam Schwab. We also remember those who emailed our office today to recite their names because they couldn't join us on the call. We mentioned Esther Benovitz, as well as Rosalind Gelber and Zoe Taub. If people could do as many are doing by typing in the chat room those individuals they're remembering. And then I'm going to ask us all to stand if you're able. And let's recite these words together. Yitkadal, Yitkadash,
Kadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Yalmad
Yomad Divrach, Yudite, Yamlich, Malkut,
B'chayachon, Uvyomechon, Ub'chayed, L'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'bizman, B'ari, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mavarach Le'olam U'omei Omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei k'dusha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran v'amad v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Aseh shalom, aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, hu ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So at this time, we're going to mention a few announcements, but if you have a challah close by, we invite you to show it to our community. So for instance, mine are from Costco.
Of course they are.
And when you're in the house all day Friday, it looks like this. Fortunately, there are two.
Rabbi Sapphire, did you make those?
Ella and Oren helped to make these.
Yasher koach.
So it is good to see so many people on the stream. I see people who are local, those in Florida, people who I haven't seen in a long time, people who, it's just so good to see. Rabbi Sherman, I see your grandparents
Oh.
in one of the squares. My parents, Allie and Margot, I saw you with your dogs, and Arlene and Larry in Florida, and Richard and Amy, and so many other people I haven't seen in so long. And so there was a unique beauty to this experiment in Shabbat observance. Rabbi Sherman, I know that a broadcast went out today with many of the events coming forward, but do you just want to share the next couple of days?
Sure. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a Torah study at 10 o'clock on this same platform, which the link was in the email today. And then tomorrow night, if you want to join my family as we conclude Shabbat with Havdalah in the same Zoom as well. And then there'll be lots of opportunities virtually every day next week. There'll be a chance to engage with the life of our community virtually, whether it's at noon every day in our TBE noontime meetup, or in our evening programs, whether it's a regular scheduled racial justice initiative or Rabbi Sissenwein is beginning a book group on Thursday.
So we invite you to join our community in so many different ways, but we're also learning the power of Zoom. And so if you're feeling isolated, we hope you'll get in contact with us, and we can actually put together groups to meet throughout the week to share at what can be a really difficult time. But now let's turn to Kiddush, the joy of Shabbat. And while I could lead it, does someone with a better voice than mine want to?
All right. I don't know where Cantor Suffern went. So I guess that's
We
me.
went to get our challah. It was in the oven before.
Oh my gosh. Of course. Oh my
Okay,
God.
now I'm ready.
Oh, that's impressive. Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah, lots of hand claps there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Ikaron lemase v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Raise them up. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
I am.
I am.
Oh, I don't have my wine.
And then finally, I see some very impressive challahs, at least in my grid. Michael and Laura, very impressive. The Coles, wow. Is that home baked? Give me a
Wow.
no.
Davidson's challah, the Friedman
Whole family.
gone. Oh, the
Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Rabbi, do you want to, should we unmute everyone so we can all say Shabbat Shalom together when we're done?
Sure, and then we'll join together in a cacophonous nigun. We hope to see you tomorrow for Torah study at 10 o'clock. Havdalah with our Yaldenu community, learning throughout the week. And if you're in need, please, please, the synagogue is here. This is when we need each other the most. Please contact us, join with us, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
These are not
From Yama.
Yeah.
Big amount up there. I think it is like half pay or something. It's not great.
Sing Shabbat Shalom.
Just beat as it's coming into software.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
On a non-Shabbat night.
Thank you.
The meeting now. Software.
Shalom.